YAJ effect. YAJ effect. YAJ. To YAJ.
Good evening,
Welcome
everybody.
to YAJ.
We are on YouTube Tuesday. Think about that. Tonight is about relationships. The way it was then to the way it is now. You have any comments on that one?
Yeah.
Well, anybody got comments on relationships? Have any comments?
They normally don't.
They don't.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back then is when you met someone you had, well, usually in marriages you get married and do your thing and all that. And there's a lot of people that have lasted for a good long period of time. And then there are some that get a divorce. Excuse me, my phone decided it wanted to sing for a minute. Let me turn it down. Now, why are you quiet?
I'm waiting for you.
No, I like when you talk.
I will. You believe me. I know my time. I told you. Go ahead.
No, but this day and age, a lot of people are living together instead of getting married.
Playing house.
Which I think in some ways can be a good thing because
Not necessarily.
no, hold up. Because when people think, when you were brought up, oh, you need to get married before you live together and this, that, and the other. Yes, that is a good thing, and yes, that's the way their morals were, is you had to do that. This day and age, people are living together now. You don't have to pay for divorce. Now, you might have to go to court because this is mine, this is yours, and who paid this. But this day and age, it's a lot more expensive to have a lawyer than it is when it was way back in my time. Of course, now you got to put what, $5,000 down?
Just about.
Just about $5,000. You have to hand them $5,000 of a minimum retainer before you can even get started with a lawyer and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And it's one piece of paper.
Yeah. So, living together or having relationships where, one person lives here, one person lives there, and then y'all just kind of go back and forth or whichever. Some work, some don't.
Mm-hmm.
But to my theory is if you're going to be in a relationship, it's one of the things that we were talking about.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, we were. I was talking more than you were, but anyway. Being in a relationship, if you want a relationship, that's all fine and dandy. Now, if you're in a relationship where it's two people together and you want to be together, that's great. But don't be together and then you go do this with this person, you go do it with this person and this, that, and the other. Especially if you want to be in a relationship that, you're committed to each other.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not committed to each other, then that's one thing. You don't have a problem. And that's when people get married and then all of a sudden, oh, well, one wants to go have fun with somebody else. If you didn't want to be married or you still want to have fun, don't get married.
But that's not how it works.
No, it don't, because there's a lot of people that just want to go out there.
There's a lot of people who lead people on and lie.
Well, that's true too.
The type of women I dealt with had low self-esteem because I had low self-esteem. Therefore, two low self-esteem people are not going to work. Just like two people who are broken can or cannot work. It just depends. But the whole thing about it is this is why they say conversate. I like the way that the Indians. I like the way that the arranged marriages. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when you arrange a marriage you can pretty much pick out what you want. You ain't sleeping with her. You're just talking to her and finding out what you want.
What, for an arranged marriage?
Yeah.
No, they don't talk to each other at all.
Yeah, they do.
Are you sure?
They do now. They will sit down and he will. I call it a
Or they might
catalog.
talk before they get
Right.
married, yeah.
Right.
But then there's some people there's some that I know that don't want to get married, don't want to be in that lifestyle, even though it's pre-arranged.
My whole thing is all the conversations we didn't have about this entire segment about people. I understand now what my mom, my dad, grandparents have always said. If you don't talk to the person you live with, you never know what you get. And the thing is, we're so quick to whip out our penises and also, but in the end, when the conversation, if you can't just say, hey, can you cook? And if you go, no, I don't need to talk to you no more. Conversation over. The whole thing,
Well, don't you know how to cook?
it's not about me.
It's
Because,
about both of you.
no, not really.
If one doesn't want to cook, the other one will cook.
Not really, because if you know who you're dealing with, you got a lot of females today who can't cook. They can't even toast bread.
Well, there are some that don't know how to cook, but there are some that do know how to cook. They just choose not to cook.
Yeah,
They want somebody to be at their beck and call.
yeah. And that's why I respect the Hispanic women. Because they do what is necessary for their man. And I'm not trying to say like I'm a Neanderthal or nothing like that. I'm just saying when the level of respect that goes to both parties,
You have to respect each other.
but a lot of people don't.
That's why you conversate before you do anything with anybody.
Because if you look, me and Doofus over there even have a conversation about this. we
Well,
always
gee, thanks.
we always talk about how these morons get these dime pieces, these morons, and they don't do anything. But yet they'll pass over a good guy who takes care of a home, takes care of his bills.
That's probably a woman that's probably has had so many guys that were down here that don't know how to handle a man that's up here.
I reckon.
Just like a man would know how to handle a woman that never does anything and starts yelling and bickering and causing problems, would know how to handle a woman that just is good to them and respects them and does things for them.
Well, you got a mama's boy, and then you got a male whore.
Or
There
what's in
is-
between. There is guys that are really good guys, not a mama's boy.
And
or,
we're being
or a
crapped
whore.
on. We are being crapped on. And the whole thing about it is, it's like a lot of men, I've had my share of broken girls. And believe me, I'm so glad I don't talk to them no more. You don't get my time or my dime. Because the simple fact is, if you have never healed from your relationship, I have no use for you. Because the whole thing about it was, when I look in the mirror, I like what I see. I don't want another yelling and screaming woman that yells, oh, the sky's purple. It's blue. I say purple. No, that's not my type of thing.
You don't want a tall woman that can yell and scream and holler?
You're picking up Kool-Aid. You want grape or purple? I said purple. Okay, no. All right, you got it. Walking on eggshells.
Yeah, being in a relationship walking on eggshells.
It's not cool, man.
It's
It's
if
not
you can't come in the house and be happy that you're home with that person, then you don't need to be with them. If you're wondering what's going to happen next the minute you walk through that door, wondering if it's going to be a good night or a bad night, you don't need to be with that person.
It's kind of funny how we crap all over our best friends. It's kind of funny how we crap all over our best friends. We spend more time going after that lustful, nasty, ghetto-fied trash, and yet here's our best friend who do anything in the world for us. Sometimes watch football, love sports, love to go drinking, love to do what you do. Rub your tummy at night because it hurts. But that's your best friend. Y'all have a conversation. You don't yell and scream at each other. A best friend. and see, because of my mother's generation, the lack of responsibility in teaching people,
Stop
I will not.
yelling.
I will not.
Stop yelling.
I will not. We're talking about relationships.
Yes.
I'm talking about that lackluster generation that didn't teach none of their children about the responsibilities about understanding the opposite party. Y'all destroyed each other, and then you left the other kids to clean up all that mess. So now we have to teach our children. Unfortunately, I didn't get the opportunity to show mine, so I'm showing them now.
But you also have to understand being in a relationship.
Really?
You know, relationships are not always perfect. I mean, they can be perfect, but they do also have their flaws too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have where you can argue,
Mm-hmm.
have an argument, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're not fist fighting, you're not screaming and hollering, you have a disagreement.
What made you pick bad?
Huh?
What made you pick bad? Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Exactly my point.
I can't help it on that.
I'm
People
just
pick,
saying.
hey, when you're young and somebody pays attention to you,
After they tell you the warning
and
signs?
well, not everybody told me the warning signs, everybody just kind of pushed me to it.
Everybody told me my warning signs and I buried it. Ugh.
Well, his family members actually was like, you know, you're with him.
Right.
What are you doing with him?
But
But I mean, you know, I wouldn't have had, you know, even though you have a relationship and it might have gone sour or you got a divorce, whatever, you learn from the relationships that you were in
Mhm.
because that's something that you don't want. But I had 2 wonderful children. I have 2 good kids. I love them to death. You know, it's not like everything was that bad. It's just we were 2 different people. As we grew older, things just collided and didn't work anymore.
I had a void. And I filled my void with everything but understanding. Which, again, this is why 2 people have to sit down and talk.
Yeah, you gotta have conversation.
And honestly, if I could go back in time and clean up all my mess, I would. I'm sorry, I just would. Because for me, I feel that I've shortchanged my children. I shortchanged them. Would I get the same grandbabies? I don't know. But this is why it's called the butterfly effect. Because if you change something, you're going to destroy something else. So I would love to go back in time and fix a lot of things. But the same token, those 2 little grandbabies I adore, I couldn't, no.
I mean, it's not like you want to get a divorce. It's not like I want to get a divorce. I don't want my kids to go through that. But, you know, you can't help it. You know, you sit here and if your parents get divorced, you're all upset because, you know, why this happened, and all this, that, and the other. After I got divorced, I understood.
Mm-hmm.
Then I realized, you know, okay, I got it. I got why people get divorced and stuff like that. But it's not like you really wanted it, because when you marry that person, you're committed. You wanted to be committed and be there. But when things start changing, people drift in different directions. What do you do?
I would have left her alone. Because knowing what I know now, I would have left her alone.
Would you?
Oh, yeah.
Would you really?
Oh, yeah. I would have went in another direction. Unfortunately,
I must say, if you went to another direction,
I
everything
wouldn't
else
have met
would be.
you. And I wouldn't have met him. I'm telling you that right now.
See,
I
there's
know
reasons
that.
why you go down a path, and there's reasons why you do the things that you do.
I'll be honest with
You wonder why you did it, how it happened, or what, but you took that path for a reason.
Mhm. Sherlock, you ready? He's over there playing Sudoku. Oh, I'm playing Sudoku 1 and 1 is 5.
I'm trying. It's not easy. You know?
Hey, Goobers.
That's why I went there.
I'll see you Saturday.
All right, y'all.
I'm tired.
YHJ.
Saturday.
YHJ.
All right,
YHJ.
we'll see you on Saturday. See you on Saturday.
Yeah, this show was it was okay.
It is what it is.
She let off. I was tired. I was working.
Take your Buzz Lightyear. Hey!
Hey, oh wow,
Take your flip-flop Lightyear.
I can't even say my little chicken.
Lightyear.